Saludos estimados participantes. En esta ocasión vamos a presentarles el catálogo de cuentas en inglés. Un catálogo quizás no 100% completo, pero con una estructura a la cual se le puede ir agregando más cuentas. Vamos a dividir esto del catálogo de cuentas en varios videos. Para no hacerlo tan extenso. Primeramente, vamos a ver el balance general o estado de situación. So we're gonna see first the chart of accounts COA, the balance sheet first. So we're gonna be seeing those accounts that we need in order to prepare like a balance sheet. Let's see the balance sheet. Remember, the balance sheet accounts are those accounts that start with 1, 2, and 3. Let's say that we have assets with 1. Assets start with 1. Liabilities start with 2. Equity starts with 3. So we have 1, 2, and 3 accounts. So those accounts that start with 1 for assets, 2 for liabilities, and 3 for equity. So let's see first those assets accounts. Assets accounts are Activos. So the first of all, we have general cash. That is an account that we use when a customer is paying you money and it gives the money to you in cash. So you have that general cash account. We also have the petty cash account. The petty cash is the account that we use for those events. So those small expenses that we need to pay so that we don't need to write a check. Let's continue with bank accounts. So we have bank accounts. We have the first here is popular checking account. The checking account is like the current account. It's an account that you can write a check, for example. You can write a check. Companies are used to have this type of accounts. We also have a reservas saving account. That is not usual in a company to have a saving account. But just in case you have it, this is the account that we use to save money. So we are not withdrawing money on a daily basis from this account. We are withdrawing money on a daily basis, whatever the needs for the company is. We use the checking account. Let's continue con accounts receivables group. Let's see this group of accounts. We have accounts receivable trade. We use these accounts when you are selling product to a customer on credit. When you are providing credit to a customer, you need to charge the accounts receivable. We also have allowance for doubtful accounts. Allowance for doubtful accounts. That is the provision that we are making maybe on a monthly basis to accumulate money just in case we have those bad debt accounts. We also have the accounts receivable for employee. This is the account that we use also when you are selling products to an employee. You use a different account from trade, from customers. So you need to use an accounts receivable employee. Let's see now the group of accounts for inventories. We have the group of accounts for inventories. This is like an inventory for a manufacturing company. You can have as the simplest one for a commercial company, for example, or for a service company. For manufacturing company, you need a raw material. That is the account that we use when you receive material to make products. You also have WIP account. WIP account, WIP means working process. When you are manufacturing products, at the end of the period, you may have some product in process. So you have requested material to the warehouse, but those material are not yet finished goods. So they are not finished goods. So you have them in process. They are not finished yet. So we call it working in process. WIP material, WIP labor, and WIP overheads. Remember the three elements of the cost? So the three elements of the cost, you may need to have an inventory for a manufacturing company. We also have finished goods. Those finished goods are products that are ready to be sold. Products that are ready to be sold. We also have in-transit inventory or inventory in transit. In transit inventory, we charge this account when you are paying money or your vendor has shipped to you, but you haven't received it yet. So when you are not receiving the product yet, so you make to charge this account instead of this one. So you cannot charge raw material for an inventory that is not within the warehouse. So you need to charge in transit inventory because that material is not within the warehouse. We also have a reserve for inventory variances and shrink. Reserve for inventory variances and shrink. So we have that is a provision that we are making like sometimes on a monthly basis. So every month we are making an entry, a journal entry, so that the company to be protected against any shrink or any inventory variances. And the last inventory account is obsolescence reserve. Obsolescence reserve. So this is a provision that we are also making a journal entry on a monthly basis for those products that can be damaged, for example, those products that are overdue, those products that you cannot use anymore. So for those products, you may need a reserve. Let's see the last group of assets accounts on the balance sheet. So with this group, we are finishing up for today the assets accounts in the balance sheet. So we have prepaid insurance general. That is when the company needs to pay in advance on insurance. Prepaid insurance general. Most companies are paying insurance in advance. So once a month, then the company is preparing like a recurring journal entry, on a journal entry for the insurance. The other account is prepaid rent. Sometimes the company pay in advance the building rent. Those when you are not the owner for a building that you need to pay monthly rent, sometimes you pay that in advance. The other is prepaid expenses, other. That is other expenses that you need to pay in advance. Let's see now the accounts for properties. Let's see like the fixed assets accounts. Land and land improvements. Land and land improvements. So this is an account that you don't have a contract account because land is not depreciated. Buildings and building improvements. Those are the buildings when you are the owner of the building. And for this account, you have a depreciation account. You have an allowance for depreciation, building and building improvement. That is depreciation for building. Machinery and equipment. Machinery and equipment. You have also an allowance for depreciation for machinery and equipment. So those are contract accounts that you use on a monthly basis to credit the depreciation amount. Also, you have for fixed assets, office, furniture, fixtures, and computers. Office, furniture, fixtures, and computers. So those are, you can segregate, you can have two accounts for this one instead of one. You can have one account like an office, furniture, and features. And you may have another account, computers, for example, if you want to. It's not necessary. Remember the categories for depreciation per our law. So you can make in that way. So you may have office furniture and features if you are segregating it. So you need to add another account for computers depreciation. The other accounts, autos and trucks, autos and trucks. And we also have an allowance for depreciation for autos and truck. We have leasehold improvements. Leasehold improvements. The leasehold improvements, when you are renting a building and you are making like a bill repayment for that building, you may have a segregated account so that you can have control over those improvements that you are making. So in this case, you have an allowance for amortization for leasehold improvements. This is amortization account for leasehold improvements. Another fixed assets account is tools and features. Tools and features. So this is like the small tools, like a hammer and things like that. We also have an allowance for depreciation for tools. The other fixed assets account is construction in progress. This is an account that a company is using when the company is like having construction, like making more rooms. It could be more rooms within the building. And also we use this account or another account that could be like um, machinery in progress, could be equipment in progress. For example, when you are buying an equipment in the United States, for example, that you are importing an equipment, so you may have an equipment in progress so that you can charge all the expenses related to the equipment in the same account. When you have that equipment ready to be in place, to be running well, then you can close this equipment in progress. This is the same thing for construction in progress. You are like adding a room in a building and having an additional, an extra space constructed. So you handle this construction in progress account. Let's see now the deposits accounts. You, if you are an industry, you have an industrial insurance deposit. Sometimes it's like an insurance to be deposited for something like a guarantee. It's like a guarantee for something in the future. Other deposits, it could be like we call it fianzas in the DR. So other deposits, you can charge other deposits in this account. Remember that we are not showing up here the code for each account. We only are showing up like the first code for the account so that you know that those are like an asset or it is a liability, equity, or something. So, hasta aquí, the fixed assets and the assets and current assets accounts for the chart of accounts. So, we're gonna see in another video the liabilities. Muchas gracias.